fireside chat. First, we will introduce ourselves before we begin the panel. Monica?
Sure. Uh, just to get started, my name is Monica Bajaj, and I'm the Vice President of Engineering for Developer Experience at Okta. Primarily responsible, for the Customer Identity Cloud Business Unit, where we are developing like authentication and authorization solution for developers, consumers, and SaaS applications.
Hi, my name is Vidya Raman. I'm a partner at a venture capital firm called Sorensen Ventures. We invest in early stage startups, enterprise, and we have a heavy emphasis on all things security, which is one of the reasons I'm here. It's not working. Working now.
My name is Arti Raman. I'm the founder and CEO of Titanium. We are
Arti,
is it working?
long blurs, yeah.
Oh, sorry. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go over. So my name is Arti Raman. I'm the founder and CEO of Titanium. We are a data protection company, and we are all about protecting data in the most challenging circumstances, such as when bad guys get in and break in and are successful. We've had a great run in the last few years that we've been doing this, and I'm excited to be here and encourage women in cyber. So I see only men, but please encourage women to join in as well.
Whoa!
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Trupti and I'm Senior Security Engineering Manager at Datadog. And I lead supply chain security, secrets management, and application security for Datadog. And I would like to hand over to Chitra.
Hey, I am Chitra Dharmarajan. I lead the security and privacy engineering with Okta. I work for Customer Identity Cloud Business Group within Okta, and predominantly data security, privacy, application security, offensive security is all under the umbrella here.
Chitra, maybe we can begin the questions.
Definitely. As you all know, that according to like this recent cybersecurity report in 2022, the positioning of women in cybersecurity is only 25%, and it has increased from the last year, but it's not enough. So we definitely want to have more footprint for women in cybersecurity and encourage them. In fact, what does it mean to be a part of this discipline? So with that, I'm going to open question for Chitra. That what are your thoughts around increasing the cybersecurity, the talent in cybersecurity for women?
When you said 25%, it was really music to the ears, but I would love to hear more music than that. Would love to see 50% and even beyond. We as leaders, there are some things where we can clearly cut a niche. The moment we say the word cybersecurity, people often associate with hackers. That is not just only cybersecurity. Hacking is only one domain amongst many areas where cybersecurity professionals work. So creating this awareness of existence of various domains is key. So we as leaders, as we go into conferences, recruitment events, we need to create awareness about secure development. We need to create awareness about incident response, governance, program management in cybersecurity. And we have founders and CEOs, they can definitely say more domains where we need to build this awareness. So cybersecurity talent pipeline, we need to build technical talent pipeline, leadership talent pipeline, and strategic talent pipeline. So there is opportunities for everyone with every possible skill set they bring to the table. So domain awareness is key, and definitely recruitment. If we are in a position where we are making an offer or where we are posting for a headcount, one of my best colleagues advised me once, do not start an interview process unless you see one diversity candidate in the pipeline. Be it gender diversity or any other diversity. Do not start the interview process. Have your recruiter source at least one diversity candidate in that pipeline. I'm not saying like make the offer for the diversity candidate, but keep an equal opportunity for the diversity candidate in that pipeline, and then source and get your best candidate in the under your wing. But keep that in mind as leaders when you are recruiting for talents.
Okay.
Arti, you want to add something?
Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Arti.
absolutely. This keeps turning off.
You can use this.
Now I have two. Yeah, so I think talent development starts really young. So I think that until such time as we have girls aspiring to be in security, you wouldn't really have good talent development pipeline. So I think you have to start in school. You have to start cyber education, training, and so that when you have career day and bring your dad to work day and bring your mom to work day, you actually have people in security coming and talking to kids. And I think that's how you actually nurture the pipeline. And I think there are countries like China, countries that play the long game where these investments start early. So I think if we're going to have an impact for future generations, we have to play the long game and we have to start young. So that's my thought.
No, I mean, you said it right. Like any, we are talking here about cybersecurity, but like any discipline, this should not be treated differently. That's what it is. And bringing that awareness right in high schools, even in college, right? I mean, because a lot of people look like cybersecurity is like, oh, it's a big deal, I'm going to stay out of it. But that should not be the case. And they should be more curious, like make it more simple, more friendly for people to understand and not treat it on the bad side. As
More
Chitra said.
mainstream.
More mainstream, basically. And I will touch on one of the topics, but how to make sure your developers and your engineers are aware about security right from the day get go in the beginning when they start coding. So definitely it's really, really important, bringing it from the beginning. Okay?
Great, all great insights. So just switching topics here, to this is very relevant to what we're all doing here today on the stage, is brand building. It's something at least that I feel like in my career I've seen it as being an afterthought for many women professionals, be it security or outside security, and this is certainly true for myself as well. So I wanted to ask each of you, very, very accomplished women in security, what do you think about the importance of brand building, and how do you build a brand for yourselves? Maybe if you can start with you, Tripti.
Yeah, sure. A great question, by the way. I would say, irrespective of the gender here, if you're telling the truth, it's not bragging, and we all need to understand there. The first thing about building brand is to put yourself out there and choose your strength. If you love writing, go write blogs, white papers, collaborate with cross-team members, your product marketing. If you love public speaking the way I do, go find avenues, and you can start with your internal security teams. You can start at company brown bags. Once you get a little bit more confidence, go find out avenues like this, external security conferences, meetup groups, and put yourself there. Basically try to find out the topics in security that you are absolutely passionate about. Because when there is passion, all the nervousness goes away and it becomes very easy to express yourself. So yeah, writing, public speaking. Another good way is networking, and I'm so glad to see all of you are here. So yeah, find ways to make friends, grow professional network. Don't hide in a room under a hoodie doing hacking. Don't do that. Would you like to add?
Yeah, I'll just from the women's perspective, building a brand is a last order of priority of many women in career, because we do 3 full-time jobs. One, paying our bills by itself and making 1-800 calls as a mom, as well as an 8-hour job to pay the mortgages in California, and another most demanding full-time job is doing geometry and calculus homework at home. So where do we find time to build a brand? Here is where I'm going to ask this audience, all the dads, brothers here, make some room for your family members to build their brand. Tell your wife to apply for their conferences. Whenever there is a call for paper, help them out. Tell them, give them that edge, like, hey, I can take care of the dinner today. Do you want to write an abstract for this conference? I hear there is a great cool meetups going on, and here we are with women's fireside, women panel here. Bring your sisters and wives and friends here and be our allies. Give them like room to build a brand. Meetups definitely help, because that is where you get to meet your local leaders and you exchange notes. And building brand is not just about it's not just about telling the world what we know, but at the same time building that intimate connections with colleagues in the industry. If somebody reaches out to you in a LinkedIn to ask for technical guidance on something, hey, I need to build this practice, How does this work in your company? Take that 5-10 minutes of Zoom conversation with them to educate them about what worked well for you in your company, where did you fail, and what can they do better. These kind of intimate connections always help us propel forward, because I made a good connection with Monica. Monica made a good connection with Anshu. Anshu pulled me into this panel. So it's kind of like, it's a circle. Like, so keep giving and don't be afraid to take from your colleagues when you, good friends, when you have to have get an answer for a question.
And I would like to add one more thing. Have goals for your branding plan. How many conferences you would like to speak, how many articles you want to publish, how many newer connections you want to add, how many people you want to mentor, how many events you want to attend in person versus online. Once you have goals written, it becomes very easy to execute. And every year you can raise the bar of your goals.
Those are great. So those are great responses by Chitra and Trupti. I was going to say, I especially loved your very, metrics, measure what matters, and also Chitra, start at home, like, enlist your family in helping with your brand. So I just wanted to throw something in there. So anytime I post something important on LinkedIn, I always ask my husband to go and, at least put in a like this. I tell him, this is the least you can do for me. Let's do it. So,
Or send a reminder again. Like,
yeah,
did you do that?
exactly. Yeah.
Did you share it?
I'll take the next.
So my question is for Vidya, and I want to ask you, based on all the companies that you've seen come through your investment career, are there attributes that stand out to you that distinguish the successful founders from the not so successful ones, so that you can share some of that? And also, which ones are able to balance the cost versus growth angle as well? Because you've seen a lot, so you can probably give us some perspective.
Yeah, happy to. This is a very, very broad question, so I'm going to try and keep it to less than a couple of minutes, of course, and try to keep it also very contextual, because we are going through a turbulent economic time. So had it been a question that was posed, say, 5-6 months ago, I think the responses would have been slightly varied. Also, for context, I think it's important to know that I work with very early stage companies, so basically between seed through Series A, many companies are pre-revenue, oftentimes even pre-product. So some of the things which might be applicable for later stage companies like metrics, they're not often applicable. So with all that context, what I would say is the kind of companies that we've tended to fund and are continuing to fund now tend to be obviously companies which want to take on large market opportunities. No matter the economic condition, there are always markets that are bigger than others. The scale and magnitude of the problem or the pain that they're seeking to solve. The quality of the team, which especially in the security domain, it really comes down to how deeply do they care about the problem? Have they done something relevant in their previous life which they can apply here? And quite often that comes from experience in either engineering, product, or go-to-market in the security domain. And then having a plan that will actually help them get through to the next big milestone. And that milestone doesn't necessarily have to be the next round of funding. Again, in this economic climate, some companies are saying, have a runway for the next 2 to 3 years. So it might be, your first few customers, maybe it's a certain revenue milestone. So it's founders who actually have the grit to execute in a given market with a given problem, and on the back of all the experiences they have. So it's basically those are the kind of founders we tend to back. And in terms of your question, Arti, about balancing cost versus innovation, it seems to me that the best ones are trying to constantly adapt their company to the market. And I'm sure you're doing this as a CEO too. There's no silver bullet to this question, right? Because in some cases, the market is not there yet, or the market hasn't matured to a point where it makes sense to have sales and marketing. What do you do then? Or maybe it is a very intensely competitive environment where there are a number of Me Too players. So there are so many different situations where it's hard to say, you know, like completely cut back on product and all of it, or maybe continue to grow. It's just very hard to make a black and white answer. So if I had to put it in a nutshell, I think it's founders who are constantly agile while still having a razor sharp focus on their big vision. So how do you balance that, especially in the times that we are in? That's all.
Well said. Monica, you being the technology leader, what are your views?
Well, I'm not a VC, but I'm an investor. I've invested in many companies, and as a person who is not running the funds, but putting their own money in the companies, I always look for the details about the founders. It's like investing in any bond, right? You look at the founder, you look at their experience, you look at their perseverance and read their success stories, like have they turned the ship around, have they failed and still being humble, because that's really important for me. And as Vidya pointed out, like perseverance is really, really important, because no matter what, have they acknowledged, have they understood their failures and failed fast and turned the ship around? So that is really important for me. The other part is business acumen is super critical. That do they understand what they are tapping into, right? So reading their blogs, reading their posts, reading, getting some more referrals and understanding a little bit more before you put your money is really, really important. The other part is as the dynamics of the market change, are they making sure that they are being aware about it, or rather going with the same trend? Because as you pointed out, right? I mean, being adaptable and being open for feedback, right? Being open for communication is really important, because I'm sure you get a chance to talk to the founders. When I invest, my money is gone, and pretty much I don't get to talk to them. But at least you get to learn through some other sources, like how the founders are acting on these, the money which they have taken. So that's really important for me.
Thank you.
No, I was actually going to say that a lot of what you said totally resonated from the founder side. My team taught me a word called founder writers, which is basically founders that hang on to their original vision, and they're constantly checking ourselves. I have a number of co-founders as well. We are constantly talking about and checking for it. And I think what you're saying is watch out for founder writers, right? We are giants. Yeah.
Love it. Well, speaking of founders in the world of security, there are 7,000 security vendors. So my question to Arti, who is one of the founder for a security company called Titanium, what it takes to be the differentiator?
So I think there are two things, and sometimes I'm a bit of an odd duck this way, but I think that we shouldn't be afraid to be geeky, because substance trumps everything. So I think the way to stand out is to be highly, highly substantive, regardless of any fluff or marketing. You just stick to the substance. That's one thing. And the second thing I think is it's all about people. It's just people relationships at the end of the day. So to get an investor to trust you is the same as to get a customer to trust you, is the same as to get a partner to trust you, or an employee to give up some high-paying job to come work for your startup. It's all about trust. So in this super noisy environment, it's just about building that trust, which is making a personal connection with every conversation. So substance and personal connections, I think, is the name of the game. And I think practically speaking, it's true for sales and marketing as well, not just investment. So that's basically the trick. Someone else is going to comment as well.
Yeah. Actually, I completely concur with you. We are operating in a knowledge market here. We are not selling knives or tools here. We are selling products, and knowledge market and liabilities. When it comes to cybersecurity products, the liability of the company who is purchasing it and the liability of the company who is providing the service, it's a legal liability. CISOs flying to Senates to give their conversations when things go wrong. So we are in some of these products are put in critical infrastructure security, and we are in a knowledge market. So definitely no fluff work. Be authentic.
Yeah.
Be the knowledge master, and I'm sure the trust will rally behind the knowledge automatically.
Yep.
So, coming to the fact of trust, building trust in the product has become every company's goal. Earlier in 2010 or 10 or 11, security is kind of, we do security. Now nobody can sell anything, even if they can't even sell a knife unless they say safety and security is part of this Bluetooth enabled knife available today, right? So building that trust in the product requires a lot of engineering collaboration. Security team cannot operate in silo. So my question to Monica as an engineering leader here, how exactly do you build that security culture? Or how would you, how would the culture comes from the leadership. How you as an engineering leader build that security culture within your team?
Well said. Basically, I feel like, now I'm a part of officially a part of, second time in my career, a part of the security company. I used to work for Cisco before, for Ironwood, and then I joined Okta last year. So obviously we live and breathe security, but I cannot escape from Chitra because of course Chitra is my peer from the security side, so she continuously reminds me, and she has basically changed my mindset, so thanks Chitra. And my goal as a leader is to change that mindset for my team. That when people say secure by design, privacy by design, those are really loaded terms for me, and while I value the sentiment behind it, but most important thing is security has to be front and center and not an afterthought as a developer, as a person who is shipping the code, right? Or as a product person who is building the code, right? So it's really important that right from the architecture discussions, the design, the requirements, security has to be thought like what if? That question has to come. It can be called as a pre-mortem also, but that is really, really important. Most important thing which people need to realize is to understand the flow, the data flow of the application, where the actors can act badly. That's really important. We need to also understand the potential traps that can happen in the flow, the entire software development life cycle, and the data is flowing from one end to another end. So that's really critical. On top of it, while I'm managing the developer experience engineering team, I also manage the quality team. So obviously I have on my shoulders a responsibility of not being just an engineering leader, but also as a quality leader to make sure that the stuff which I'm shipping is of high quality and secure. So it's really important to understand and partner with the security engineering teams to understand the vulnerabilities they bring forward, how to address them in a timely way with right SLAs, because we get external and internal both. So that's really important. The second thing is understanding of those tools, right? Because you have use third-party open source tools as well, and it's really important to make sure that we are testing them, because we are getting some, we may get some insecure code because of the third party. So we don't want any kind of another attack like SolarWinds as well in our system. So that's really important.
Thank you so much. And Trupti, do you want to add anything from the?
Yeah, so Monica very beautifully covered the importance of software security lifecycle and what kind of role security plays and how we can shift security towards left. I'm going to bring a different angle, which is mainly about culture. So all the CISOs and security leaders present in this room, I would request them, go get in touch with your HR department and people partner and ask them to change the career ladder description for software engineers, program managers, technical program managers, and all other leaders to include some level of validation around security. It's a different story if developers do not have security knowledge. We can teach them security, but do they value security? That's extremely important. And taking a step a little bit further, instead of having one or two security classes as part of university curriculum, let's push for a new movement. In every database, in every programming language or algorithm class, let's have a section for security. How to do these things securely, right? Just having one or two security classes is not sufficient. And this is the way we can change the engineering DNA. We can introduce, the culture of security. And let's make security glamorous and sexy. Let's reward good behavior. Let's, give kudos to engineering teams who understand the importance of security. and champions like Monica, right? Let's create those proponents in every single team. And coming back, let's have a plan, goals. In industry level, I would highly recommend run your security champions or security ambassador programs very seriously.
I want to add just one point there, like you mentioned about security champions. So we do have security champions in every single domain, every single teams who advise us. And the other thing is when incidents happen, in some ways some of the incidents are good because they create learning for us and help us being more proactive to think about like what if something else can be broken or something else can happen. So do value those incidents and not just be reactive and forget about it. That's really important.
So we talked a lot about various domains of security. I will leave this audience with one takeaway. How do you measure a good security culture in your ecosystem, in your companies? Simple thumb rule, if somebody made a mistake in your company, if they made a mistake, like I committed a wrong code, I did something wrong, if they come up front and say, hey, I did something bad, and if they have no fear of saying what they did bad out loud in a big Slack channel saying, I committed this code, looks like I messed up today, not my great day. Create that blame-free culture where people are fearlessly vulnerable to come forward and say, I clicked this phishing link today. Sorry, I did it. What could I have done better? That is a simple metric to say that you are having that blame-free culture, and having that blame-free culture will help everyone engage with security initiatives and will help you as leaders to build trusted and secure products, and it goes inevitable that you can only sell products which are built with trust and security and privacy behind.
Wonderful. I really love that. We are moving in our last section, which is a rapid fire. We will go in order. Advice for women security professional in less than 10 words or less than 20 seconds.
Wow, that's pretty hard. I would say bring awareness in security, about security, right from the beginning in colleges and in high schools. That's the way I would look at it.
And mine would be, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So go for whatever it is that, whether it is a conference, that next promotion, job, whatever you think will get you to the next level.
Mine would be to speak up. Always are on the side of speaking up, even if you're not sure, it's perfectly okay. It's better to have your voice heard than not heard. You can always learn either from speaking up something wrong or researching and saying it right.
Mine is sky is the limit. So experiment, experiment, and experiment till you're happy in your career.
So mine is, when you're driving the car in your lane, look at the other vehicles in the other lanes. Build a breadth. Security is not just about one specific domain. Constantly stay updated and build a breadth of knowledge, and that's one recipe to be successful long term. And there is no education which is going to help us succeed in a career which is 5 decades. So we are in a constant process of learning.
Yep.
With that, thank you all. We would love to take some questions.
Thank you, everyone.
If it is an easy question, it's for us. If it is a hard question, it's for us.
It's an easy question. As from your vantage point, what do you see as security evolving over the next year or so? Where do you see you spending your time, money, and what keeps you awake at night from a security?
You're directed to someone.
What about
I think he was looking
Okay,
at you.
I can say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
What keeps me up is definitely the incidents, and some incidents are more stickier than others. It's really sometimes some of the incidents are really complex, but rather than panicking or rather than losing control, my goal is to keep the team intact, focused, and make sure that while we are resolving that incident, we are also learning this and keeping our eyes and ears open around like what else can go wrong in future, right? That's the way I look at, and as a leader, it's really important to keep that balance because we all know that when these security incidents happen, the last thing you want to do is panic. And you either openly talk about the information, it has to be very tight, very secure, handling of that. So that keeps me up.
with the audience.
Yes.
Share this mic, yeah.
So, what changes in privacy do you think are making changes in security? You know, the GDPR, the California laws, consumer behavior as well. Like, I will go with this app because they know about privacy.
This is a great question. The landscape of privacy has changed a lot over the last 15-20 years. 15-20 years back, we used to treat privacy as part of security engineering itself. But with the rise of GDPR, Colorado Privacy Framework, CCPA, and thousands of more privacy regulation across the world, and the fines associated with these privacy, laws and regulation, we have started treating privacy very differently. Now it's a super specialized field within security engineering. Sometimes privacy people, they report to legal counsel. Sometimes they are part of InfoSec compliance org, and all this is because the world has realized the importance of privacy. And I want to stop here and actually hand over mic to Chitra, who leads the privacy organization.
So the one big change in the industry now is it's thinking a lot about privacy engineering. Earlier it's more about privacy operations. What do I need to post a consent message to the customer to collect the data? That is the level of privacy operations we were doing 5 years ago. Now every product which is handling data need to have a granular lens about how do they build it with privacy by design concept. The moment you bring in the word design, it's not just legal, it's also engineers, which means dev engineers, lawyers, security engineers, and everyone, AI engineers, everyone. Privacy is everybody's game right now. And it has to be done, it's a team sport. Like security, it's a team sport. It cannot be a siloed one privacy team solving the world hunger. That's not going to happen. It's a team sport. So again, privacy culture is picking up now.
So I just have a follow-up question. So for any startup that is coming up with privacy tech, like especially AI engineering, how do we define ourselves? Like, I'm having a big trouble, like where do I fit in the whole trust stack?
So, there are a lot of frameworks available by NIST, ISC Square on how to get started with your privacy common control framework, how to introduce privacy engineering. But I want to answer this question a little bit differently by requesting Arti here, who has actually built a privacy product. So do you want to go for it?
Sure. Thank you. So I think there's 3 angles you can take, and they don't have to be exclusive. You can do all 3 if you have the appetite. So the first one is actually security angle, because privacy enforcement is kind of the same as security. Security is a space, noisy as it is less noisy than privacy right now. So if you're building a privacy product, you might think about positioning yourself with a security angle. So that's one thing. There's so much noise in privacy. It's like 700 million in investment in the last 2 years. So that's one thing. The second thing is you can also take a compliance angle. Compliance always sells. And if you take a compliance angle, you want to be really specific and map it to whatever you are helping with compliance and make sure those are the use cases you attack. And the third thing, which is actually, I think, the way of the future, is a big data angle. Right? So if you're going to take a big data angle, you want to look at it from the chief data officer's perspective. You don't want to get in the privacy noise at all. You want to say, because privacy still doesn't have enough budget actually in an org, but CDO has a lot of budget. So you want to go to that guy and say your life is horrible, right? You've got all this data, these massive data sets to protect, all these ML models to train and everything, and like you're saddled down with privacy requirements. So here's how I fit into your life. And so I would look at that, then security, then privacy myself, because privacy is terribly noisy, and a lot of the people that are in privacy come from the legal side. They're not very tech savvy, and it's actually quite a big challenge and a lift to pull that. And we can also chat afterwards if you like.
Thank you. Yeah, we are right on time. Probably we can take one more question.
Krishna has a question.
No, I'm good.
All right.
I can ask one question. So as a founder, Arti, and I would love to hear from everyone else on the panel as well. There can be a time where you have to prioritize something on the product roadmap versus making the product more and more secure. There's always the issue with the time, the investment, and you're always running against time. How do you advise a founder, in that situation? How do they prioritize security? Making the product more and more secure versus going to the market as soon as possible.
Yeah. So I think this is actually very straightforward. The simple litmus test is who's willing to pay you for whatever feature you build. That's basically the beginning and end of it. So you talk to whoever your customer is, and Karthik in our company is very good at this. So every time we tell him to build something, he's like, who wants it? Who's gonna pay us for it? Right? So you basically take that security need versus whatever else you needed, and you figure out like my next, if you're a startup founder, there's probably like no more than 10 in that pipeline. Which of those 10 prospects are gonna pay me for this feature? And you be really, really disciplined and you do that. And I think that it's really nice to have these like simple litmus tests because you can just like rule out all the noise that way. So that's what I would say. Talk to Karthik, he'll tell you how to do it. He's a real pain actually because he does it all the time. So that's my answer.
And I can add to it from a different lens. Although we are building security products, but at the same time, it is really important that you understand the cost which will come when an incident happens.
True.
Which is really, really high. So what the best way is make sure that don't even think about it, right? If you have to build a feature versus like creating the security, have a balance. So we have a concept of like every quarter when we do quarterly planning, we put some time for addressing these vulnerabilities, whether they're internally found or externally found, because once it becomes a pile of vulnerabilities, nobody wants to touch it, and it's very expensive. So make it as a regular health check every time you're releasing. That's really important.
And I want to add a few more things. For all the security people who are present here, we all know that the company runs by delivering shiny new features that generate revenue. Arti said it, right?
That's my job.
So how can we make security so transparent, so easily doable, so that it doesn't become hindrance to cost, resources, performance, user experience? And that's where we have to think very innovatively. And I'm going to take example of privacy engineering. Privacy can be enabled using simple anonymization technique, tokenization, or if somebody wants, higher level of privacy, they can go for homomorphic encryption, multi-party computation. So we look at customers' need, how much they are willing to pay, and what kind of security and privacy we can provide. And yeah, do think about the innovation here, because that's what will make us successful as security professionals.
You can also buy our product. Which
Love it. Chitra, would you like to add something?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it there. So there is always, there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Know your customers, know their wallet size, and know their compliance requirements, and try to put what is sellable in the table.
Wonderful. Well, you have one more question?
Good question.
Sure.
Are any initiative for learning cybersecurity for girls in high school or colleges? Because my daughter is going next year to college, and I'm struggling to, for example, in Bay Area, going to UCs, I'm very difficult to find undergrad doing major in cyber. So any initiatives so that they can learn more in cyber?
So I have a college-going kid in computer engineering, and she's also more interested in cyber. So I can share some of the experience as a parent here. So undergrad as a cyber, I'll say first 2 years, let them take the proper computer engineering courses so that they have their operating system, programming fundamentals, data stores, loud and clear. At the third or fourth year, if there is any way they can specialize in some kind of cybersecurity courses, most colleges have it for senior years. So try and have them pick some of those. But beyond that, I'll tell you the greatest resources. San Francisco State University publishes all these cybersecurity courses in YouTube. The professor Sam Bounds is a good friend of mine. All his courses are in YouTube. Mobile application security, web application security, Python, hardcode Python, everything is available in YouTube. You don't have to take the exam or you don't have to finish the assignments. Just go through those YouTubes, have your children go through those YouTube videos when they are walking, jogging, or hanging out somewhere. It's more of a, the resources are available everywhere. Simple Udemy courses teaching a lot these days. My tip for beginning career, at a beginning career, I'll say, try to take some kind of cloud infrastructure. I'm not going to say associate or professional certificate, familiarity. You know, just start with some kind of familiarity certificate, first level certificate, and take 1 or 2 Udemy courses and get a Linux machine and hack it. Kali Linux is free. Just hack it. For the heck of it, it is so much fun. I have done that. I have done that in my 30s. I wish I could have done that in my 16s and 17s. But it's definitely interesting field and girls would love it. I'll tell you why. From the cavemen days, women are born with the DNA to secure our territory. What did we do when hunters-gatherers went out to gather food? We protected the home. So it's natural, built-in DNA to be in that protective mode. We look for vulnerabilities easily in our lives. So just applying the same DNA strengths to the professional life becomes naturally fun.
Besides those YouTube courses, and she explained that there are Udemy, I think there are more than 100 universities available on Coursera that offer cybersecurity certification and specialized courses. So definitely consider that. Plus, we are blessed here in Bay Area to have so many security founders. So why not, get an internship in a security company, right? Let's go for
And bring your children to events like this.
Yes.
So I have a fun story to share. So before we officially started this company, my 14-year-old wrote algorithms with me, who has a better head for multi-dimensional geometry than I do. So that's fun, right? Security is such a broad field that you can apply many different meanings into security. Like you can have a math-focused person or somebody that's good at other programming. A lot of it applies. It's just about pulling them in if they want to. My kid has made it very clear that just because they help me does not mean that they want a career in cyber. So that's the other thing.
We are about time, so I would like to thank all the panelists, Monica, Arti, Vidya, Chitra, and yeah. And thank you all of you for making this fireside chat super special. Without your support, we cannot succeed. So thank you all and enjoy the evening.
Thank you.